Usually how we engage with our discipline forces, mainly the military, is that the schools within which they host, and we have quite a number of them, is that 80% of the students in those particular environment would be children of military officers. But this one is almost converse. 80% of the children in these schools, this one and the other one, are from the local community. And therefore, we would want to most sincerely thank the military for supporting this community to be able to acquire quality education in a quality environment. We are doing 4 classrooms in this school. 1 has already been done. 3 more will be done shortly because, as I said, we have 200 students who are going to grade 9. Therefore, on an average of 50 children per class, we need 4 classrooms in this school. Our colleagues from the DOD, from the Department of Defense, have given us assurance, and we know they have that capacity to be able to deliver on those 3 classrooms within the next 5 weeks. So we shall be back here just before the schools open to come and commission the 4 classrooms that we require in this school. The head teacher has also confirmed to us that they have received the necessary books, the textbooks that they'll use for grade 9. All our children will get a book for every learning area. We have 9 learning areas, so kids will get 9 books. That's a book per learning area. And we are also making critical progress in getting teachers so that come next year when our kids go to grade 9, we shall be having teachers who will be able to handle these kids. We are at the tail end of recruiting 20,000 intern teachers. We are also at the tail end of concluding the process of converting the 46,000 intern teachers who have been there for the last 2 years into permanent and pensionable. And there is also an exercise that is going on that the Teacher Service Commission is currently carrying out, making an assessment of those teachers who are teaching in the primary schools and who may be able to support us in teaching junior school. And by the time we open school in January, we shall be having more than 90,000 teachers teaching at our junior school level. And we shall progressively be growing into the numbers that we require to stabilize the junior school. We have also just concluded doing guidelines for placement to grade 10. We have also done guidelines for management of senior school. In January, we shall be having stakeholder engagement so that our stakeholders can go through these guidelines and give their comments. And as we can see, we are in a military barracks because this school is inside here. So they are also critical stakeholders. They are part of the stakeholders who will be going through those guidelines to be able to support us in coming out with guidelines that will support all of us in running our schools in the country and some of the schools that are in an environment like this one, which requires slightly sometimes a different approach from our regular schools, which would be outside. This is a disciplined environment, and there will be certain things that as we do the guidelines, they would want us to add those particular things so that schools can be able to run in the way that they adopt into the environment in which they find themselves in. So come January, we are ready to receive our grade 9. Come January again, we shall be preparing ourselves for grade 10 so that we don't wait up to the last minute. We shall be preparing ourselves for grade 10. We are going to build 1,600 laboratories in our secondary schools, in those schools without a lab. We have 1,600 schools, secondary schools today, who do not have a laboratory. And for them to be adequately prepared for competence-based education, science is a very critical pathway. And we expect every school to have a science pathway. And that is why we shall construct 1,600 labs throughout our schools between January. By April, we want to believe that we shall have finished them so that the teachers in those schools can socialize themselves in those labs so that they will be prepared to be able to run the STEM pathway in January 2026. On quality of classrooms that has been done, I want to thank our teachers, the boards of management, and all our critical stakeholders for the good work that they have done. We have visited quite a number of schools, and the quality of work that has been done has been very good. I would also want to most sincerely thank our teachers, even the process that they went through in identifying the contractors who will be able to build. We've not had any complaint in terms of adherence to the law, the procurement law. So our teachers, mainly those who are running primary and junior school, from this exercise, we have realized that they have the necessary capacity to be able to run such projects. And we are doing 11,000 classrooms, which are at various levels of completion as government, as Ministry of Education. We are also working with the National Government Constituents Development Fund, CDF. We did, government allocated 3.4 billion shillings conditional grant to CDF. And what was expected of CDF is that they were going to match. For every shilling that was given as a conditional grant, CDF was to give another shilling. So that in total, CDF is managing 6.8 billion shillings in building 7,000 classrooms. That will take the number of classrooms we shall have done to 18,000. We are still monitoring because there are some schools with a smaller number of kids, up to 10, 12. So we are also going to give them a classroom. So we are on engagement to add another 2,000 classrooms, so that in total we shall be doing around 20,000 classrooms, and which for sure will be able to accommodate everybody. But when we look at the numbers, on a certain number of kids per class, between 20 and 25, we would have needed around 16,000 classrooms. But every child who is in a school requires a classroom. So we shall see how to deal with it. So in issues of quality, I would want to really appreciate the work, the good work that our officers, including the multi-agency team, the Ministry of Interior through the county commissioners and the Ngao team, our own officers in the Ministry of Education, and the school management, the board of management, and our teachers for the good work that they have done. We have ran a very smooth exam. In this region, the eastern region, I was in the central region in the morning. We have not had any serious issues. We have had incidences like in the central region, we've had a few incidences in private centers where we have private candidates, where a few of them have tried to sneak in telephones. We have had around 2-3 cases of impersonation. And across the country, there's been little attempts of people trying to get early exposure. Early exposure is where somebody tries to take a photo of an exam that has been opened for doing after 8 o'clock. But you know, this year, we personalized our examination papers. Every exam is personalized to an individual. So when a photo is taken of an exam, then it is a photo of a student's paper, because they are all personalized. The 965,000 papers, every paper is personalized to an individual. So when a school exposes an exam paper by taking a photo, they are compromising on a student, because it will be traced down to an individual. And that in itself has its own consequences. And the law is very clear on what happens. And this time we are not going to use a mob war. We are going to be specific to individuals. Even schools, we are not just going to cancel exams for the whole school. We are going to be very specific. Even our center managers, who are our head teachers, invigilators, we are going to deal with individuals, not with groups. And my colleague from Teacher Service Commission will tell you, we are so specific this time. Where a center manager messes up, we discontinue that center manager immediately, and we appoint somebody else to take charge of that school. Because this is, somebody has to carry individual responsibility. For a long time, you know, when people thought we are just getting a mob of people, a school's exam is cancelled, And that is why we personalize the exam, so that we can be able to narrow down to an individual. And if you see few cases that we have dealt with, we are either arresting an invigilator, we are arresting a center manager, we are arresting a supervisor, because that is where the responsibility lies. And going forward, that is what we want to do. And I can tell you, our biggest challenge in people attempting to compromise examination is not with the children. Children are victims of adults, because the whole exercise is run by adults. We mobilize money from parents to try to compromise our officers. We adults are the ones who buy telephones for our children to go try use them for the wrong thing. The people who want to photo that thing and take it so that answers can be done, answers are not done by children. Answers are done by us, the teachers and the adults. Those who bring it back to try to sneak it back to the children to copy are not children, they are adults. So these examination malpractices are largely run by ourselves as adults. If we commit ourselves as adults that we are not going to do it, then we shall be leaving our security officers to do the job they were employed to do, take care of us as a country, not taking care of an individual to do an exam. So I think we need to relook into ourselves as adults, as Kenyans, and tell ourselves, how do we want to move forward?